The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
It's the bonus show. 2, 3, maybe a month ago, I don't know how long ago it was, we covered the story of the Philippines' new drug policy from the new president, who basically campaigned on ridding the country of drugs and drug dealers and all of this.
Via vigilantism.
Yep. And he's basically keeping his promise. So basically now you have vigilante groups all over the place, just shooting hundreds of people to death in the streets, in their homes, in recent months.
Now, of course, when the people are shot, they've had full due process and they've been accused of and convicted of crimes, right?
No. I'm envisioning a situation where you can basically kill anyone you want and plant a little baggie on them and say that they're drug users, because drug users and drug dealers, everyone is a potential target.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. And the killings are completely out of control. The human rights groups, they are all over this, and they've been doing a great job documenting this. Police killings as well. The police are also killing massive amounts of people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're enabling random vigilantes to go out and kill people, obviously the police are going to be killing a ton of people.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like the good old Salem witch trials all over again.
Yeah, except with more modern weaponry.
Yeah, and at least in the witch trials,
there was a trial.
There was a trial.
I mean, it was a joke of a trial, but there was a trial.
A trial there was no way out of for you, and,
Right.
and if you were convicted of a witch, you were going to burn.
Right.
But at least they pretended. And
Wasn't one of the trials to actually be burned at the stake to see if you were a witch or not?
No.
Right, no, I thought that there was a thing where like they would try to burn you because if you were a witch, you wouldn't burn. But obviously, if you weren't, then you would die anyway. I think you're right about one of those catch-22s where the test would kill you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I personally, I'd rather be shot to death than burned alive.
Well, yeah.
So at least the people in the Philippines have that going for them. But very disturbing.
You know, when we talked about this a few weeks ago, 2 people emailed me, one from the Philippines, the other married to a woman from the Philippines, saying, listen, this new guy is not good, but the reports are sort of overblown, and big picture, the people in the Philippines are great, and it's really a wonderful place to be. And it's true. I mean, a lot of people say that in most of the Philippines, this is not going on. It's really concentrated, and that it is absolutely beautiful there. Can't really speak to that. I mean, I've never been. I have no doubt. And everybody I've met who's Filipino have been some of the nicest people. And in fact, when I was in last summer, when I was in Paris, I met a Filipino guy who explained why there are so many call centers in the Philippines, because just by their very nature, Filipino people are very, very warm and very good at de-escalating situations and sort of remaining calm, and that it lends itself to handling irate phone calls at a call service center, which may have been some kind of generalization. It was a very positive one, and we should still be skeptical of any generalization, positive or negative. But it was interesting that he linked it to something in the culture.
Or it could just be all the drugs that are there that are trying to eradicate. That's why everyone's so calm and happy.
Yeah, everyone's on heroin.
Right.
No, that's not what's going on. I've met many Filipino people.
Right.
On cruise ships. If you travel on certain cruise lines, you will find that the majority of the crew are from the Philippines.
Interesting.
And this was quite a while ago. I did not have the chance to discuss what's going on with any of them, of course. But an interesting result of this crackdown is that many drug addicts and dealers are turning themselves in. And so they already had prisons that were horribly overcrowded.
Oh, right.
And now it's completely out of control in those prisons, and many of these people have not even been imprisoned just because of, I guess, maybe the sheer number of people turning themselves in. The overcrowding is worse than ever. One jail here, made to hold 800 people, now holds 3,800 people.
I'm against, obviously, making drug use a criminal act. Everybody knows I'm against the war on drugs, etc. If you have such a way of dealing with drugs, unleashing vigilantes to kill anyone they think is involved with selling or using drugs seems to be effective in getting people to start turning themselves in by the hundreds.
Yes. So if let's be perfectly clear here. If you are going to kill everyone who has anything to do with any type of drug, you will successfully rid the country of drugs in enough time. If you will.
Either because you'll kill everyone, or people will be so scared by the killing around them that they will turn themselves in or stop being involved, I guess.
And so if you don't care about anything but that, then perhaps a good strategy.
Right. If you don't care about the mass murder epidemic that you're unleashing, then it's a really good way of handling drug issues.
Yeah, yeah. And are you helping anything at all with this method? No. You are in no way making your country a better place. But if all you want to do is get rid of drugs, okay, well, this is one way, and this president is a real piece of shit. Okay, here's a funny story. Chris Humphries is an NBA player.
Yep.
And when he was 10 years old, he was a swimmer. He was a competitive swimmer at the age of 10, competing with the likes of Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte, both of which he beat decisively.
Right?
Both of whom he beat decisively in multiple events. And this is really funny. He went on, of course, to become a basketball player, and well, hard to say who's making more. I mean, I'm sure Phelps is making more money than Humphries just because of endorsement deals, because of all the medals. Huh. But the NBA is certainly a profitable enterprise.
Yes, I'll say.
But who knows? If he outdid Phelps in every category and he won all the gold medals, his endorsement deals would have been out of control, and maybe he'd be more rich. But anyway, just very funny. And you look at the guy, I mean, he definitely has a swimmer's build, and anything is possible. I mean, maybe he could be the guy, even if Phelps went down the same path. Maybe this guy would have more gold medals than Phelps.
Possibly. We talked about that entire thing, though, about how... Oh, so I wanted to follow up. We spoke, I don't know if we were all here, but Lewis mentioned this thing about how it's sort of crazy to compare the most medal winners in the Olympics, because in some sports there's just more attainable medals. Like swimming has a whole bunch of events.
Yeah.
You play the entire soccer tournament and you have one gold medal potentially that you could win. I heard a counter argument to this.
Okay.
Which is that although there are many swimming events, that most swimmers are only actually participating in a couple of events. So that, yeah, there are more medals they can win, but it's not that every swimmer is in 15 events.
So, yes, but they could be if they wanted to be.
Potentially, I mean, if they qualified.
If they qualified, right. Yeah. So they might not want to dedicate that much time. I mean, a lot of them don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Right. So Phelps, I guess, did, and he dedicated himself to competing at a high level in all of those events. But still, you're swimming, you have that option.
Yes.
No shot putter has that option.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. Also, I saw a picture of some guy who is now an Olympian, and I guess he defeated Phelps this year. But 8 years ago, he was like a little kid, and he took a picture with Michael Phelps, and he was like his hero. And now I guess he outswam him. And so I wish I knew more. I didn't care enough to look into it in detail. But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was going to add one thing. So this Humphries guy, I mean, if you take all of these Olympic athletes, I'd probably bet that there might be some player in the NFL who could beat Usain Bolt in a sprint.
In a 100-meter dash or something.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's someone who may never try, who may never find out. And I would say with certitude that someone somewhere in the world is fast. Maybe many people are faster than Usain Bolt. People who will never compete in any way, shape, or form.
Now, are you saying that someone has the potential to train and be faster, or just if you said to someone who's never run before 100-meter?
No, of course, potential to train and be faster, yeah.
But you're saying there could be someone you find and you're like, hey, you, race Usain Bolt right now, and that they could defeat him potentially.
7 billion people on the planet, maybe there is one of those people.
All right, well, that could be.
And the same applies to just about any event. I mean, somewhere out there, there's someone who never really gave a crap about swimming, ever, but had the potential physically to be far greater than Michael Phelps.
Well, I mean, swimming is a sport that by definition requires access to a place where you can
Exactly.
train.
Exactly.
So I'm sure there are tons of people who never even had the resources or wherewithal to even get into swimming, but whose bodies are predisposed to be fast swimmers. Why not?
Yep. And I would probably apply to just about, but here we have the people who did dedicate themselves to it.
Yeah.
And they're still amazing athletes. It's great. Whatever.
You a strong swimmer, Jason?
I'm a pretty good swimmer, but I don't know, to go further on that point, are you saying that maybe due to its implications and having the most gear, hockey is maybe the least of these sports in that,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we know hockey, like people always say, oh, well, there's no black people in the NHL. And when there is, there are a couple, you know what I mean? And it's just because black people are inherently not that good at hockey. There's also, like in baseball, you have tons of Hispanic players from Latin America, and you don't in the NHL. Well, a lot of those countries are really poor, and if you look at populations that are historically oppressed, yeah, it's going to be hard to get really good at ice hockey if you're growing up poor in Cuba, right? I mean, I think we can all sort of imagine how that happens.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to put up a basketball hoop. It's not so easy to put up an ice rink.
Soccer, another example, right?
Yeah.
it's like that one movie with the Jamaican bobsled team that,
Right. Cool Runnings. Hell of a film.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Candy was in that, right?
Was he?
Yeah, wasn't he the coach or something?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was. Okay.
We have confirmation.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. One more story here. This was sent to me. Texas State Senator Bob Hall is a constitutional conservative.
Of course.
Whatever the fuck that means. In limited government and personal responsibility. That's his platform. And now what he wants to do is make gun-free businesses liable for any incident, any harm to patrons as a result of being deprived of their weapons.
Yeah. By that definition, any business that welcomes guns should also be liable for any shootings that take place there because they encourage people to bring guns.
And talk about slippery slope here. Real slippery slope here. This is a real one. Imagine that. Someone picks up a knife in your restaurant and goes after someone else, maybe sitting at their own table. Maybe you're sitting next to me. I just grab my knife and go like that to your throat. The restaurant, if it's a gun-free zone, is now liable.
Yeah, because if I had a gun, I would have been able to protect myself from the person sitting next to me during dinner stabbing me.
Yeah. No, I'm too fast. You wouldn't be able to do it. But that's what this is. And does that sound like small government?
No, it sounds insane.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't sound like small government to me either. This guy's a scumbag, and even conservatives are saying that this will not pass, this legislation he's proposing, and that it won't be taken seriously. But the message is that they just want... Oh, yeah, also he calls carrying a gun a God-given right.
Yeah.
Because God created guns, apparently.
Guns themselves are God-given.
Yeah. No comment there.
No further comment necessary.
Yeah. And, I mean, their utopia is just one where everybody is carrying a gun.
Yeah.
Well, except for probably people with dark skin.
Well, everybody would be totally safe then.
Yeah. If everybody had a gun...
Other than non-white people.
Yeah. We would be in heaven.
No. Now, in their defense, there are a lot of the pro-gun extremists who are not actually racist in that way. And they say, no, listen, everybody should be able to have a gun and should.
Yep. Well, if I had to choose between everyone having a gun and no one having a gun, I'm going with no one.
All right. I think you agree with that, right, Jason?
Yep, definitely. Like you said, if you want the baddest cops on earth, give everyone, a billy club and a taser, and, there you go.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Jason doesn't even want cops having guns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either, but unfortunately, there are just so many guns in this country that they have to.
Right.
So it's bad.
It's bad. That's I think, the conclusion we can all agree on.
Yep.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.